Hare Krishna. Namaram Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shanyavani Praskajayate Satarine Vancha Kalpa Drubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Chaitanya Charanam Bhoja Mukundalyo Paje Yesham Pracharam Matranam Paramapayamo Bhavat. So I recently have been reading this Siksha by Raghunath Das Goswami, and I was blessed to get this copy. It's actually compiled by Urmila Prabhu, my god sister, very senior lady Vaishnava, spiritual daughter of Srila Prabhupada, who has actually visited South Africa, Her Grace Urmila Prabhu. So she's commented on this, but she's also collected commentaries by other senior Vaishnavas like His Holiness Shiva Maharaj, very wonderful, His Holiness Sachinanda Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, who's also come to South Africa, very intellectual, and I think some by Jayadvaita Maharaj, His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj. And then there's a commentary by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So on the next series of talks, I want to go over each verse, but each verse will require many sessions because they're very deep. This is very deep. So the basic point is Mana Siksha, Siksha, instruction to the mind, Mana. And Urmila Prabhu has explained in the commentary a reference. So this is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaivedharma, which I happen to know the reference she's made, and I originally read Jaivedharma when it was translated by Krishakrata Prabhu, 1991. Krishakrata Prabhu translated hundreds of books from the original Sanskrit into English. He left his body in Vrindavan, and some or other, one of my disciples, Ratan Krishna Prabhu, gave me his walking stick. So I have his walking stick on my wall. I sort of collect walking sticks. I have numerous other ones, but this is my prized possession. I think it has something to do with the fact that I went to Heathrow Airport, I think in 1993. Yes, 1973. And in Heathrow Airport, I was sitting at Srila Prabhupada's feet. And I was holding his walking stick. I can't remember whether it was a bamboo one or a black one with silver on the top. I don't think it was a bamboo one. There's a famous picture of him with a bamboo walking stick, but 1973. So I'm holding the walking stick, and I thought, I'm holding it vertically upwards. And I thought, because it's paraphernalia from Prabhupada, it shouldn't touch the ground. Which is a little stupid, because a walking stick is meant to touch the ground. So I had it lifted above the ground, and I was holding it. And I was probably the closest to Prabhupada. And he was speaking a little to us. I think he was leaving. So it must have been after the installation of Radha Gokulananda at Bhaktivedanta manner. So, Mana Siksha. So let me read the first verse, and then we'll just say something about it. Korave goste gostalaishu sujana bodhisara gana swamantra srinam brajanava yuva dvandva sharane sada dambha hidva kuru ratim apurvamrita apurvam amrititi apurvam atitaram Ai Swanta Parastas Chatubhya Abhiyase Vitapade. O dear brother, O mind, having given up all pride, please develop unprecedented and excessive attachment to, now there's a whole list, Sri Guru, to Vrindavan, the abode of cows, to the devotee residents of Vrindavan, to all the devotees on this planet, to the confidential mantra, Swamantra, given by Sri Guru, to the holy name of Radha and Krishna, Sri Nam, and to the process of surrendering to the fresh, youthful cup of Braj, holding your feet, I beseech you with sweet words. Chatubiha, chatubihi, sweet words. O dear brother, O mind, having given up all pride, sada, dambam, hidva, please develop unprecedented and exclusive attachment. So, following the translation, Raghunath Das Goswami first addresses the mind as dear brother, O friend, not as enemy. The mind is one's friend, but can also become one's enemy. If the mind is inclined towards Krishna and spiritual topics, Harikatha, it's your friend. If it is inclined towards material nature, it progressively becomes your enemy as you become more influenced by the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. So he's appealing, O dear brother, O mind, having given up all pride. And this is what I wanted to concentrate just on this particular talk. Sada, dambham hidva. Sada, kirtanya, sada hari, sada. Always, continually. Nirantara, without cessation, continuously. Sada. Dambham, pride. Hidva, give up. When I read these words, I think of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The last Kartik Brat he spent in this mortal material world was at Chattakaparvata in Jagannath Puri at Purushottama Gaudiya Math. So this was 1936. He left this material world in 1937 on the 1st of January, early in the morning. Sometimes Prabhupada said he left on the 31st of December. Technically it was the 1st of January. So prior to that, starting in November, was Kartik. So he went there for 6 weeks to Purushottama Gaudiya Math. It's very large, or relatively speaking, of course, everything is relative. There's perhaps 1 acre, and there's a little sand dune, and there's a house built on top of that where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta lived. And the deities there, I think Radha Giridhari. And now the Gaudiya Math have built it up, and it's a very nice facility. You can actually go and stay there, but very austere. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta went there in November. He left round about December the 5th or the 6th or something. Then he went to Cuttack. I think in those days it was the capital of Orissa, a big city, Cuttack. Then on to Calcutta, to the Bug Bazaar temple. And then he displayed his pastime to being ill, which was basically 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks. His leela of being ill, and then he left, age 62. So often it's been reported that he would murmur, or he would say while chanting or while doing bhajan, Sada Dambham Hidva. He would just say those 3 words, just give up pride, give up pride. Another phrase that he would often say is Nija Niketa Nivase Govardhanam Tvam, which is Raghunath Das Goswami's prayer to reside Vasa, near Vasa, to reside at Govardhan Hill. So these 2 phrases often he would say. This I have obtained from my senior godbrother's book, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, by His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, yes, my senior. Very wonderful book. I advise all Vaishnavas to read this. After Prabhupada Lilamrita, this would be the most ideal book to read, to understand Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's mood, phrases, narrative, and how he preached. So it's mentioned in this book that often Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would state, Sada Dambam Hidva, give up all pride, give up all pride. And then often he would state, Nija Niketa Nivase Govardhanam Tvam. May I reside at Govardhan Hill. There's 8 prayers for shelter at Govardhan Hill, and 8 prayers for residents at Govardhan Hill. Now they're separate. So this is Nija Niketa, 8 prayers for Vasa residents at Govardhan Hill. So one has to give up pride. You cannot move an inch. Well, you can, but your advancement will be somewhat slow, impeded. It is very necessary to give up pride. It's also characteristic of Bhava Bhakti, that one is very humble. There are 9 characteristics of Bhava Bhakti. Virakta Manasunyate Asabandha Utkanta Namagada Sada Ruchi. So giving up pride is not easy. The only real way we can give up pride, which means false ego, is to understand our real ego. So there is the false ego. I think I'm this body. I think I am perhaps Indian or American or English. I'm born in a Brahmin family. I'm born in a rich family. I'm a man, I'm a woman. This is false ego. So one has to give up the bodily concept, but also the mental concept. So this is harder to achieve. So false ego is there even in a spiritual institution. There is a degree of false ego. It is due to the influence of ignorance and passion. And from this false ego arises competition, competitiveness amongst devotees, desire for pratishta, name and fame. I was going over it. It's all the P's. In other words, you want to be popular. P. Pratishta, name and fame. Position, power. So even within a spiritual institution, these things, often they will surface because we're not liberated. Now, when one becomes more spiritually advanced, and this would be deep ruchi ashakti, you can begin to identify with your real ego. And what is that? That I am a resident of Vaikuntha. I am a Vaikuntha Vasi. I have a four-handed form. I follow in the footsteps of Prahlad. I follow in the footsteps of Dhruva. Or I follow in the footsteps of Nishingananda Brahmachari, who previously was Pradyumna Mishra, whose relationship is with Lord Nishingadev, again Vaikuntha. This is one's real ego. Or one's real ego, I'm a follower of Hanuman in Ayodhya, Sugriva. Or I'm a follower of a resident of Dwarka. The chief resident of Dwarka, of course, is Uddhava. But there's many others like Satyaki. And also the 5 Pandavas would be included in that. Arjuna. So one's ego is, I'm an assistant or follower of Arjuna or Uddhava. Or one's real ego is, I'm a resident of Vrindavan. One thinks like this, I'm a resident of Vrindavan. To begin with, you may have a mentally conceived conception. So one may conceive or hanker to be in Dasyaras, like Madhukanta, or Madhubrata, or Patri, or the chief in Dasyaras is Rattaka, Patraka, Rattaka. He's the chief devotee in Dasyaras, but Vrindavan. And he has a body that is greenish in color. So this is one's real ego, cowhead boy, a follower of Sudama, Sridhama, Madhumangal. There's 4 divisions of Sakyaras. A follower of Mother Yasoda, like Mukara, or Gunamasi, or a follower of one of the gopis, Yuktishwaris. In our line, of course, we're emphasizing Radharani because we're Rupanugas. And Rupanuga means a follower of Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami is the most important young gopi, assistant of Radharani. But others may follow Shamalasaki, others may follow Bhadra, and others may follow Chandravati. These are 4 main Yuktishwaris. So this may be somewhat advanced, but we have to say the truth. This is our real ego. Coming down to a lower level, one can think or conceive, I am the servant of Krishna. And it may not be very specific. I am serving Krishna in Vrindavan, or I'm serving Krishna in Dwarka, or Nishingadev, or I'm serving Lord Vishnu. So, Mami Vamsa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, I'm the servant. It's a more general understanding. And this is more applicable and appropriate for us in our ISKCON society. Because the ISKCON mission is Vaishnavas are Kanishta Bhaktas. Of course, there's Kanishta, Madhyam, Kanishta, Uttama. And then within the category of Kanishta, there's Kanishta. Just like the color green, there are so many grades. There's some, you look out of the window and there's green. Palm trees, the grass. Now it's winter, so now it's becoming a more brown. So many shades of green. So many shades of gray. Between black and white, there's so many shades. So there's so many levels of advancement. But it's categorized as Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttama, but within the Kanishta category, there are so many divisions. So our basic conception should be, I'm the servant of Krishna. We may not know exactly how I'm serving Krishna, what is my loving relationship with him, which Rupa Goswami has called one's Sthai Bhav. Sthai Bhav meaning one's permanent relationship. It hasn't awoken yet. But that's all right. It will awaken. You have to start somewhere. Every journey starts with some step. So you want your PhD, you have to start off in primary school, learn how to read and write, and then go to secondary school, and then go to university. So we shouldn't jump. Jumping is like the monkey. We shouldn't do that. It's not appropriate. I read in Hari Sori Prabhu, in his book, Prabhupada went to Vrindavan in 1975. This is when Hari Sori Prabhu was serving Prabhupada. No, 1976. Anyhow, one of Prabhupada's disciples had gone to Radhakund and was living at Radhakund. And Prabhupada wasn't happy about this. This is as I've read in Hari Sori Prabhu's book. So they called for that devotee. The devotee came to see Prabhupada at the Krishna Balaram temple. And Prabhupada said, do not jump. Do not become like a monkey. And Prabhupada was visibly shaking, according to Hari Sori Prabhu. Prabhupada didn't want this. Prabhupada wanted his beloved disciple to stay in the association of other devotees on the same level and practice properly Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Later, with the grace of Guru and our parampara, one may understand one's personal relationship with Krishna. But this comes later. Sadhana prasadaja bhav, sadhana vinyavesaja bhav, as described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva-dhamma. This would be chapter 22. So Prabhupada has given us the process, we follow it. Gradually the mind can become cooled. But it will always kick like a bucking mule. This is the nature of the mind, to kick. It may lure us into a feeling of comfort zone. It may trick us in many different ways. False ego. But when we begin to understand our real position, which is our real ego, that I am Dasyaras, that I am Sakyaras, that I am Vatsalyaras, that I am Madhuyaras, then real ego kicks in. Parakasta Palyadasi. Parakasta means the highest summit or aspiration, what I really want. Palyadasi, to become the servant of Radha and Krishna, but more specifically Radharani. So the point is, we shouldn't rush these things. It requires patience. Therefore, Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction has said, Utsan Nishtaya Dayat. Enthusiasm, confidence, but patience. Be patient. Don't try to rush and become like a monkey jumping. We're fortunate, we're connected to Prabhupada. We're connected to Prabhupada's mission. Today is the celebration of the incorporation of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This mission is Prabhupada's personal contribution to the Sampradaya. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's contribution was to preach in India. He sent disciples in 1933, three of them, Prabhupada's godbrothers, Bon Maharaj, Samvidananda, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, who was actually a disciple of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's first sannyas disciple, extremely saintly person. So they tried to preach. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's main contribution was India, but he desired the West. He sent some disciples to Burma, and then these three to England. They returned, and then again he sent Bhakti Saranga Maharaj. That was interesting. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was at Chaittikapavita, during this 1 month I mentioned, just prior to his disappearance, he sent Bhakti Saranga Maharaj, put him in charge of preaching in the Western world. So Prabhupada's contribution, of course, is to preach all over the world. And he's doing it through his disciples. So we have to honor this and always remain favorable to Srila Prabhupada's preaching mission. Institution, in order to preach, one has to have an institution. If the institution is organized, then the preaching will be more effective. But institution also means politics, Rajniti, diplomacy. So we get this within our ISKCON mission. So we have to learn how to tolerate this and continue and not give up, not retire, as it were, but continue serving within the ISKCON mission. And if there is some serious problem, always remain favorable to the ISKCON mission. I'll give some examples. You're hungry and you're eating, taking prasad, and accidentally you bite your tongue. Now, you don't curse your tongue, curse your teeth. The teeth is bitten. There's some blood. You can taste the blood. You don't pull your teeth out one by one. You're just more careful in the future when you eat. So within an institution, sometimes there's criticism, and it will come to you for something you did or something you didn't do. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's a misunderstanding. Why? Because it's the age of Kali. And Prabhupada said one of the definitions of the age of Kali is the age of misunderstanding. Like this COVID, there's so much misunderstanding. The World Health Organization last year said, you do not have to wear a mask. Then they changed. It's changing. There's misunderstanding. We don't really know what's going on. Whether they went to the moon, whether they didn't. Of course, we just followed Srila Prabhupada in the Vedic scriptures on these points. So that's one example, the teeth. Another example is that honey is very sweet, and it's called madhu. Sometimes, on taking the honey, you get stung by a bee. But being stung by a bee doesn't mean you stop taking the honey. You're just more careful in the future. You take necessary precaution. Perhaps wear an outfit where you don't get stung by the bee. So again, I'm applying that. Politics, diplomacy, Rajniti, misunderstanding will be there in the institution. A third example, there's so many. You can learn from material nature. It's almost like Siksha Guru. One can learn. That milk is very important. It nourishes the brain. It's called liquid religion. From milk we make so many sandesh, kheer, sweet rice, nice foodstuffs that unfortunately I can't even take now because I have stomach problem, diverticulitis. So when you're milking the cow kicks. It kicks you. But you don't kill the cow, you don't curse the cow, you're just more careful tying the cow's legs or where you sit. You're more cautious, you're more careful. So we should expect difficulties, misunderstandings, but still we should remain within the association of devotees, within the ISKCON movement, because this is how we came to Krishna consciousness. It's through Prabhupada's books, through devotees in ISKCON. So we have an allegiance. Immediately we have a debt to Prabhupada. And you cannot separate Prabhupada from the ISKCON movement in one sense. Of course, in another sense you can. And Prabhupada is in the spiritual world. He's serving in a particular capacity, the divine couple. There are various groups. Although he did say we have an ISKCON in the spiritual world, it's not quite like that, but there are various groups comprising of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 extremely like-minded devotees. This is described by Rupa Goswami and Ujjvala Nilamani. But we should remain favorable to the ISKCON mission and try to do something. So this day is very important. It was the day that ISKCON was legalized, if you like. And Prabhupada had that vision. He knew that he would leave, so he created the institution. Then, of course, in 1970, he created the GBC and chose 12 senior devotees to administrate. And then the next day he created the BBT, who was planning all of this. So we humbly pray to remain in the association of devotees within the ISKCON mission, always remain favorable to the ISKCON society, and be patient in the practice of one's devotional service. You can understand what is the ultimate goal, but we may not be qualified to enter into spiritually, I'm talking about Vrindavan, Antaranga Bhakti. We may not be so qualified at this stage, but if we continue after some years of following the principles, chanting, we can develop higher taste, nishta, ruchi. Sometimes ruchi and sometimes ashakti is described as bhajan and bhajaniya. Vajaniya is a general taste for all types of Harikatha, about Ramchandra, Krishna, Kaliya serpent, Krishna and Dwarka, Nrsimhadev. Is general. You become enlivened reading the Ramayana. You become enlivened reading the Mahabharata. You don't have any specific inclination towards one particular ras. So it's sama. You're equal to all the rasas. Bhajan. And bhajaniya is more specific, where you have a definite interest and proclivity and hankering for one specific ras, one of 5. And this hankering or interest is based on lobha, or loyam, or greed. It is svabhaviki, it is natural, svabhaviki, natural. It is not influenced by passion, the mode of passion or the mode of ignorance. It's completely pure. And Prabhupada has written that it comes when one is free from material contamination. Clearly he has written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that when one is free from material contamination, spiritual rasa awakens. And then he says it awakens automatically, and then he said this is Siddha Swarupa. So of course this is our ultimate goal, and we can achieve it within the ISKCON mission, taking shelter of Prabhupada and his very dear disciples and grand disciples, and carefully reading his books, and then with the permission of Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru, we may read Mana Siksha and Stavali, Stavali, and Stavali, the different Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Briya Bhagavatam Rita, which has been given to us by Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's most famous book, Jaivadhamma, etc. So we pray that the Vaishnavas can continue with enthusiasm, great confidence that they can achieve the goal, but also patience. And again, again surrender ourselves on this auspicious day of the formation of the ISKCON society. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hare ki jai, Jagannath Subhadra Balaram ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Gau Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.